The cemetery was silent at first, heavy with mourning and cold wind. White tents flapped softly like tired wings above grieving faces. Mourners dressed in deep black filled every seat under the canopy. A polished golden casket rested above a freshly cemented grave mouth. Inside lay Judith Anderson, billionaire CEO, ruler of 3 island towers. Her skin was pale, her nostrils packed gently with cotton wool. Her husband, Williams, stood beside her, clutching a folded handkerchief. Tears glimmered in his eyes, though his jaw remained strangely firm. The pastor cleared his throat, ready to speak holy words. 2 grave workers stepped forward, ropes already in their hands. Then a thunderous voice shattered the moment. "Stop! Don't bury her!" It roared through the air. Everyone turned in shock, confusion, and whispered alarm. Several mourners raised their phones to record the unfolding drama. A man in a tattered brown coat pushed through the crowded aisle. His beard was overgrown, tangled like a forgotten forest path. His hair was wild, blown by wind and neglect. A dirty bag hung heavily on his shoulder, carrying his weary life. People shifted away from him as though he was a storm. He pointed directly at Judith, his hand shaking but his voice steady. "She is not dead," he declared. "Do not bury her." Whispers rippled through the crowd in nervous waves. "Who is that?" someone asked under their breath. "Probably homeless," another muttered quietly, almost dismissively. Security moved quickly to block his path, but he slipped past them, stepping lightly but determinedly. The wind blew his coat open like wings on a battered angel. He stopped at the very edge of the casket mat. "My name is Benjamin," he announced, breathless but bold. "Listen to me carefully. This woman is alive." William stiffened instantly, his eyes turning sharp and cold. "Get this madman out," he snapped angrily. "You will respect the dead." "She is my wife. She is gone. We will bury her in peace." The pastor lowered his Bible. The grave workers froze in place. Benjamin pointed again with a hand that no longer shook. "She was given a substance," he said firmly. "It slows breathing and chills the body like death. It fools the eyes and the touch. But she is alive. Give her the neutralizer." Shock spread like wildfire among the mourners. "Neutralizer?" someone whispered, trembling. "What is he talking about?" another murmured. Williams's face tightened with rising fury and fear. "Enough!" he barked. "Guards, remove him immediately!" But Benjamin did not move an inch. He lifted his chin, speaking directly to Williams. "You know what you did," he said quietly. "And Dr. David knows too." Gasps broke out across the crowd. All eyes shifted toward the family doctor. Dr. David stood rigid, lips pressed into a thin line. Benjamin stepped closer to the casket, his expression softening. "Madam, please hold on," he whispered to Judith. He spoke louder, voice filled with conviction. "Check her pulse. Warm her chest. Feel her wrist. She is still here." A woman in purple lace stepped forward, her voice trembling. "If there is even a small chance, we should check," she said. "No," William snapped, sweat glistening on his forehead. "We have already done everything necessary." The doctor confirmed. "Let them check," a voice shouted from the back. "What harm will it do?" another demanded loudly. The murmurs grew stronger, turning into a wave of agreement. The guards hesitated, glancing nervously at the restless crowd. Benjamin carefully set down his bag and removed his coat. He folded it gently, placing it beside the casket. "Please help me lift her slightly," he requested to everyone. An older woman stepped forward, eyes red with love and grief. "I am her aunt," she said. "If we can help, we help." Together they lifted Judith just slightly, enough for the pillow. Up close, she looked peacefully asleep, not lifeless and gone. The cotton wool was removed from her nostrils with trembling hands. Benjamin opened a small brown vial worn by time and travel. "This is the neutralizer," he explained softly yet clearly. "It will call her body back from the slowed state." Williams lunged, but mourners blocked him firmly. "If it fails, we bury," one man said sharply. "But if it works, we thank God," the aunt answered coldly. Benjamin knelt and prepared the dropper with steady hands. "Please open her mouth slightly," he asked gently. The aunt did so with great care. Benjamin held the dropper over Judith's tongue. "One drop," he whispered. "Come back, madam." He released the first drop. Silence swallowed the entire cemetery. 1 second passed, then 2, then 6. Nothing. His hand trembled. He prepared a second drop. "Don't!" Williams shouted, frantic. The aunt raised her hand, stopping him. Benjamin released the second drop. Before it touched her tongue, a faint sound rose. A soft cough whispered from Judith's chest. The drop landed. Her throat moved. Her lips parted. Chaos erupted. Screams, prayers, and gasps filled the air. "She's breathing," someone sobbed in disbelief. "She's warm! She's warm!" the aunt cried joyfully, but Williams's face twisted into wild rage. He reached into his jacket and pulled something metallic. "Stay back!" he roared, voice cracking with panic. "She belongs in the ground!" 2 men rushed him, and the crowd scattered in fear. Benjamin did not move. His coat brushed the grass, wind tugging at his beard. His voice rang out like thunder. "Look at her, Williams. Look at your wife." Everyone looked. Judith's chest rose, then fell, then rose again. Another cough escaped, stronger this time, and the cemetery was never silent again. Her eyes fluttered slowly, like heavy doors resisting light. The crowd gasped together, breath caught in shock. The aunt screamed through trembling sobs. "She's alive! She's alive!" Judith's lips quivered, barely shaping sound. A hoarse whisper escaped her dry throat. "Why?" she asked, voice filled with pain and confusion. Her half-open eyes focused on the man towering above her. Her voice grew stronger, trembling with betrayal. "Williams! Why?" All strength drained from Williams' body instantly. His hand loosened, the syringe slipping from his grip. It clattered loudly against the stone near her coffin. Gasps rippled through the mourners like a violent wave. Guards lunged forward, pinning William to the ground. He kicked and twisted, screaming like a wounded beast. "No!" Williams roared, voice cracking with rage. "She was supposed to be gone! Finished! Gone!" The guards tightened their hold, forcing him still. All eyes turned sharply toward Dr. David. His face had gone pale and lifeless. He adjusted his collar, sweat rolling down his face. I pronounced what I saw," he stammered weakly. "I thought she was gone." Benjamin's voice cut through the air like thunder. "Liar! You knew. You signed her death while she still lived." Judith coughed, this time with new strength. Her aunt supported her as she slowly sat upright. Her hair fell loose, her skin damp and pale. Her eyes locked onto Williams with blazing hurt. Tears spilled as her voice cracked in accusation. "What did I ever do to you?" she asked, trembling. "To deserve being buried alive by your hands?" The crowd murmured in disbelief and broken shock. Judith's voice shook with grief and anger. "I trusted you. I lifted you. I loved you. And this is how you repay me?" Judith then turned toward Dr. David, voice thick with betrayal. "I built your hospital. I bought your car. I raised you up. Yet you betrayed me for him." Dr. David collapsed into broken sobs. "I was afraid," he cried. "I thought I would lose everything." Judith swayed, her strength fading again. Benjamin caught her gently, supporting her weight. "Easy, madam," he murmured warmly. "You are safe now." Judith looked into his tired, weathered face. She finally saw him, not as a beggar, but as a protector. "Who are you?" she whispered softly. Why would you save me? Benjamin lowered his eyes, voice rough with memory. I lost everything once. My wife. My child. I couldn't allow another innocent to be taken again. The crowd hung on every word in stunned silence. William screamed again, voice wild with madness. She should be mine! The empire should be mine! But his cries faded under rising prayers and murmurs. Police sirens wailed, closing in on the cemetery. Red and blue lights washed across polished tombstones. Benjamin remained kneeling beside Judith, steady and quiet. Not proud, only burdened by old grief and sorrow. Judith squeezed his hand weakly. Stay with me, she whispered. Police officers arrived and took Williams from the guards. Dr. David collapsed to his knees, sobbing uncontrollably. Charges were read clearly and coldly: attempted murder, conspiracy, betrayal. But Benjamin said nothing, only held Judith close. She sat upon her own coffin, the woman who refused death. Judith whispered through tears, Thank you for saving my life. Everyone leaned forward, wondering what came next. He stepped to the stand, voice steady and clear. My lord, he began firmly. On the night Madam collapsed, I drove her quickly to hospital. She struggled hard to breathe deeply, but when we reached the gate, Dr. David ordered me away. He said he would handle it privately alone. I begged desperately to stay with her side. He refused coldly, without any mercy shown. 2 hours later, he announced sadly she was dead. The court gasped in shocked unison. Judith covered her mouth tightly with hand. Tears streamed freely down her pale cheeks. Ch bowed his head low in regret. I knew something was terribly wrong here. Madam was weak, but not truly gone yet. I should have fought much harder then. The prosecutor nodded slowly with grave intent. So you confirm, Mr. Chach? Isolation insisted by David? Yes, sir. No room for second opinion allowed. The defense squirmed uneasily in seats. Their case collapsed like sand wall under pouring rain. Next came toxicologist with charts displayed. Slides showed substance in syringe called tetrodotoxin clearly. In low doses, it mimics death perfectly. It slows heartbeat, freezes muscles tight and stiff, masks breath so victim seems corpse-like. Without advanced equipment, mistake for death easy indeed. It was intentional act, no accident. The room fell into heavy, stunned silence now. Evidence weight pressed on all present. Finally, Judge turned to Williams with stern gaze. Mr. Anderson heard charges, testimony, proof scientific. Do you have anything to say now? Before this court passes final judgment today. Williams rose slowly, face twisted in fury. Half fury burned, half despair gripped him. His voice cracked roughly as he spoke out. Yes, I have something to declare. I loved Judith once with all heart, but she loved companies more than me always. Everything always about her empire, billions, power vast. What was I, shadow in house? A husband in name only, nothing more. Supposed to share in her glory, bright. Yet she treated me like lowly servant. Judith flinched as if sharply struck hard. The audience murmured low, stunned by words. Williams's voice grew louder, fists shaking wildly. So yes, I wanted it all for myself. I wanted what was rightfully mine now. If she had to die for me living, as a man, then so be it. Chaos erupted wildly in court that instant. Shouts, gasps, outrage cries filled air thick. The judge banged gavel furiously for order. Order! Order! She commanded with force. Judith's tears spilled freely down her face. She stood trembling but strong and resolute. Her voice rose clearly above the noise. You fool, love is never stolen away. Respect not forced by any dark means. You had everything. My trust, home, life. But your greed drowned you completely now. You tried to kill me. Killed yourself instead. Williams's eyes burned mad with dark fire. "I regret nothing at all," he roared loud. Voice echoed through hall like thunderclap. Guards surged forward as he leaped dock. They held him down firm with strong hands. Shackles clinked coldly as he screamed curses. Dr. David broke into deep, wrenching sobs, collapsed onto dock floor in despair. "Forgive me, my lord. Forgive me, Judith. I betrayed everything I swore to uphold. I deserve death for my grave sins." The judge's gavel thundered once more sharply. The hall fell into tense, heavy silence, her voice firm, unshaken by the storm. "This court has heard more than enough now. Williams Anderson, guilty of attempted murder charged. Conspiracy to murder, greed of highest order. Sentenced to life imprisonment with hard labor. May your chains remind life you tried burying." Williams screamed as guards dragged him away. His voice echoed, "It should have been mine. All mine," he cried in rage. The judge turned to Dr. David next. "And you, trusted with life, but dealing death. Your betrayal of oath is unforgivable sin. This court sentences you to life too. You will never hold another's life again." Dr. David collapsed into chair, broken utterly, too shattered to resist as police carried out. The gavel struck final time with authority. "Court dismissed," she declared to the room. The hall erupted in mixed emotions, wild. Some clapped hard, others wept softly now, all buzzed with history's heavy weight felt. Reporters rushed out to spread verdict fast. Judith, exhausted, sank into seat slowly. Her body trembled with relief mixed pain. She whispered softly, "It's over at last." But beside her, Benjamin shook head gently. "No, madam. Only beginning for you now. You have your life returned to claim. What will you do with it anew?" She turned to him, eyes soft with light, lips trembled in deep gratitude shone. "I wouldn't be here without your help. You have no home, no rest deserved. Yet you gave me both in crisis. Benjamin, you truly saved my fragile life." Benjamin looked away, voice quiet and low. "I only did what I couldn't before. My wife, my daughter, I failed them, but this time I could not fail again." Judith touched his hand, firm and warm. "You did not fail in any way. You were my miracle in darkest hour." Around them, people gathered close with praise, tried shaking Benjamin's hand in admiration, clapped him on back for heroic deed. He had been invisible shadow for years, now stood in light, man redeemed fully. The man who stopped burial, saved Billionaire. Judith rose, still holding his hand tight. "You will not return to Bridge tonight. From this day you walk beside me always. If I lived again through your grace, then so will you, reborn in light." Benjamin's throat tightened with emotion deep. Tears welled up in his weary eyes, but he nodded silent, heart full now. For first time in years, felt truly seen, as they left courtroom together side by side. Judith, her aunt, Benjamin walked united. The crowd outside roared like fierce storm. Cameras flashed bright, voices chanted his name. "Benjamin! Benjamin!" The man who stopped death cold. Though chains closed on Williams, David tight. New doors opened wide for both now, doors neither Judith nor Benjamin imagined before. The battle for justice won at last, but journey of redemption just begun truly. The heavy doors of Judith's mansion opened to new season of vibrant life inside. The house once smelled of deep mourning, now breathed fresh air, sunlight filled halls. Corridors glowed with hope and renewal. But behind glow, betrayal scars lingered still. After trial ended, Williams and David sentenced. Judith invited Benjamin to stay at estate. One evening after dinner, she led him into her private study-lined mahogany. Shelves held books in neat, orderly rows. Single lamp cast warm, inviting glow soft. Judith poured 2 glasses of clear water. gestured for Benjamin to sit down calmly. His hands shook slightly as he held cup. For a long time, stared into it deeply, as though searching for lost courage within. Finally he spoke, voice low and raw. "Madam Judith, something I've carried alone years. Tonight, I must finally say it all." Judith leaned forward, eyes soft with concern. He swallowed hard, throat tight with fear. "I wasn't always like this, broken man. Once I had dignity, software engineer proud, a husband loving, father to sweet girl. But one day, everything collapsed around me. I lost my job in cruel twist. My wife packed things, vanished with daughter gone. She left only cold, heartless note behind." His voice broke sharp with old pain. "A note-telling child I raised dearly. The girl I called mine wasn't blood kin." Judith's eyes widened in shocked empathy. Tears sprang unbidden to her gentle eyes. Benjamin pressed palms together tightly in anguish. "The betrayal destroyed me utterly, completely. I wandered streets, unable to breathe free, unable to live without shattered heart. I slept under bridges because hope fled." His shoulders trembled with recalled deep grief. "But yesterday, under that same bridge dark, I overheard Williams in his car plotting. He made phone calls, planning takeover sly. Of your companies after burial complete. His words froze my blood in veins. That's why I ran to cemetery fast. That's why I stopped them in time." For a long moment, silence filled study heavy. Only faint ticking of clock broke quiet. Judith's hands shook as she reached over, clasped his firmly across the table wood. "Benjamin," she whispered, tears streaking cheeks wet. "You carried all that pain alone still, and risked your life for a stranger like me. Do you know what that truly means?" Benjamin's voice cracked with raw emotion rising. "It means maybe I still have reason. To exist, to breathe, to matter now." In days following his painful confession shared, Judith refused to let Benjamin hide away. She saw in him more than savior, a mind sharpened by loss and trials. At first, Benjamin resisted her kind offers. "Madam, I am no longer worthy man. Let me serve you quietly in background," he said one morning while carrying files. But Judith shook head with firm resolve. "You will not hide from light anymore. You gave me back my precious life. Let me give yours back in return." So Benjamin began with small duties, humble, in Anderson Holdings, carrying files with care, checking schedules, organizing reports neatly done. He moved with humility, head bowed low, yet little by little brilliance surfaced bright. One afternoon, intense board meeting held. Directors struggled with corrupted presentation file bad. Panic spread quick across room filled, as investors waited impatiently for start delayed.